गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। When there is a controversy or different interpretations of the same passage, same Upanishad. Same Upanishads have been interpreted differently by different people. There is no consensus. There is no unanimous understanding of the Upanishads. Then we don't know what exactly is the meaning of Upanishad. Then the Purvapakshi told, whatever is the Upanishadic teaching, we accept that as the truth. So we don't have to discuss with all other books or anything. Whatever Upanishad says, the truth, and we accept it. And Swamiji told that is a too simplistic way. You are presenting as if it is so simple as that whatever Upanishad says, that is final. Because Upanishad is the pramanam, and for many years, for many centuries, many millennia, our people have been studying Upanishads, and with the help of the Upanishads, following the sadhana and understanding the truth. So let us take what Upanishad teaches, and we don't know about other shastras, other books. Leave it, but just to follow, that's enough. Okay, we could have your presentation is very simple and easy and shortcut, but unfortunately it doesn't help. Here Swamiji says it doesn't help because the obvious fact is that there is no consensus among the scholars, among the acharyas, regarding the central teaching, Siddhanta of the Upanishad. What is the Siddhanta of the Upanishads? What does the Upanishad say? Each one interprets differently. There are many schools like Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Advaita, Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, and Dvaita. Even that there is a Kevala Advaita and some other Advaita, pure Advaita and some such thing like that. There are 5, I think, 5 or 6. Okay. So out of these various Siddhantas, which is the real meaning of the Upanishads? When we have many views, many Siddhantas derived from Upanishads, we don't know which one it is. Or we may say, you may take one school, Advaita or Dvaita. In any one school, again there are sub-schools. There are multiple interpretations within the same school. This we have discussed in the previous classes. So within Advaita, there are many schools. Regarding the same teaching, there are multiple interpretations, where, like in Shankara's school, there are Bhamati and Vivarana, and many others also. And they dispute among themselves, one another, they don't agree. Not only they don't agree, they dismiss others vehemently, with argument. They dismiss. That doesn't prove Advaita. The others' Siddhanta, others' Prakriya is not right at all. And the other person says his Prakriya is not right. If people go on quarreling like that, we don't know how to decide. Then for that he replied that no, they differ only on secondary details regarding the Prakriya, but in final truth, in the absolute truth, they are all one. Advaitam Brahma is truth. In truth, there is no disagreement. Only in the Prakriya, in the method of teaching alone, they differ. So what? If Swamiji reply is, if they dispute regarding the only Prakriya, and if they agree commonly regarding the final truth, then regarding the prakriya, regarding the differences in prakriya, they are all secondary. If they are secondary, then they should tell clearly it is only, doesn't matter. Even if he presents differently, it ultimately reaches the same thing, so you don't worry, it is the same. No, they are not doing like that. Even in the secondary, so-called secondary details, even regarding the prakriya, there are differences. So steep differences, they really differ, so strongly differ, vehemently oppose each other. Then if they feel that they are secondary details, they would not have opposed each other so vehemently. Bhamati opposing Vivarana, Vivarana condemning Bhamati would not have done. If they felt that they are only just okay, it's only another way of telling, it's okay, let him tell. No, they really reject each other. When they reject each other so vehemently, then the listener, the student, newcomer, he gets confused. Should we follow that or this thing? The one sub-school says he is wrong, and he says that you are wrong. Then ultimately, which is right? If both of them dispute like that, both of them take an opposite stand and dispute, then you would be at loss. You don't know which one to decide. And there are certain independent thinkers. They have no emotional attachment for Upanishads or anybody. They don't say whatever Upanishads, that alone is final truth. They have no attachment with Upanishads. They only go by their independent thinking. Whichever appeals to their thinking, whichever appeals to their logical thinking, they accept it. Otherwise, they just rejected whoever it is. And regarding the interpretations of Upanishads also, they have no specific attachment. They have no soft corner for any Advaita, Dvaita, or Vishishta Advaita, or anybody. Whichever appeals to my intellect, I accept. Otherwise, I'll reject any of them. There are certain Western scholars, they are philosophers, Western philosophers, who are also searching for truth, like Spencer, Berkeley, Hume, Bergson, and Ityadi. All these are Western philosophers. They are in search of truth, whosoever teaching helps, they will take, and whichever is illogical, they just reject. Unhesitatingly, they reject. They have no attachment for any acharya or any school of philosophy, Indian philosophy or Upanishads or anything. Then in that says, not only this is the problem, but avashyam udasinaha vaidikanam avantara vivada vishayeshu anumanyante kamaf vishayam swatantra vichara pidyamiti. Since they are independent thinkers, whichever affects their independent thinking, they just don't mind rejecting it outright. They have no hesitation to reject it outright because they are interested in truth directly. Okay, now athamanyeta. Now Purvapakshi says that no. If they are independent thinkers and they don't accept our tradition, they themselves should be rejected. See how he goes. Because we are the believers of Upanishads. Whatever Upanishad says, that is the Siddhanta. But if those people are independent thinkers cannot find the truth. So he dismisses it. See, athamanyeta naivate shrutibhashyaha adartavyaha bhavanti astikaihi. We are the followers of Veda. We are Vedantins. Vedantins need not give any value to the arguments of such an independent thinkers. See, but though they who are outside the Veda, non-followers of Veda, should not be considered by the Vedikas. We don't have to give any importance to we don't have to give any value to their arguments, because anyway they have rejected Upanishads. They have rejected Upanishads because the thing is, topics like bandha, bondage, liberation, cause of liberation, cause of bondage, and Vedanta Vichara, Atma Tattvam, the final truth, all these things are not something, all these things are not the matter of all these are a matter of Vedanta alone. They cannot be figured out by your own independent human thinking, because the very human mind is stuck. It is the human mind that is stuck, is unable to, because human mind itself is stuck with a time, space, object, subject, object relation. Where human mind is incapable of finding the truth, it is exactly at that point that Upanishad comes to our rescue. But if people think that we are independent thinkers, we don't listen to any Upanishads, we don't care for anybody, you dismiss all Veda Upanishads and go independently. By your independent thinking, you can't find out, because human mind is stuck in the time-space subject-object relation. You can't transcend these things. How can you transcend time, place, all these things? Because the human mind works only within these things alone. Therefore, bondage and the cause of the bondage, liberation and the means of liberation, then the nature of final truth. These topics are purely matter of Vedanta alone, Upanishads alone, and no human being from his out with the help of his own independent thinking. With his own independent thinking, it's not at all possible to arrive at, not at all possible to discover or figure out. Learnt from the sources, from other sources. So we cannot learn these topics from other sources or even from independent thinking. Independent think, therefore, the thinkers too should be, he says, such independent thinkers. Independence means human thinkers, human mind. Very human mind is, see, human mind itself is stuck in the bondage. It cannot extricate itself from that bandha. Samsara bandha, human mind is stuck with its own thinking. See, a mind cannot go beyond thought. Simple reason, you see. Mind cannot go beyond the thought. What is beyond thought? Again, you try to think. Simple reason. What is beyond thought? Mind doesn't know. Because mind is thinking. Mind is thought. You don't know what is beyond thought. And if you ask the mind what is beyond thought, it again thinks. That means it is stuck with the thinking. It can't go. If it is beyond thought, there is no mind. If the mind has to think what is beyond thought, mind is helpless. Mind cannot work. Mind cannot work, mind fails. Then where mind fails, no independent thinker ever give up mind and think. Independent thinker, who is an independent thinker? Independence means independent of Upanishads. Who is a thinker? He uses his mind. He thinks with his mind. When he thinks with his mind, mind has certain ways, certain relationals. So mind works within those ways, within those relationships alone. It can't kill itself. That is the basic thing. Can the mind kill itself? If it can't kill, then it remains within the stuck with mind alone. But mind is limited. Mind cannot find out everything. Mind is limited. Then how can the mind, which is limited, can transcend itself? But all independent thinkers use only mind. Therefore, don't trust them. Don't take those independent thinkers. So Purvapakshi says, don't take those independent thinkers seriously, because they are only self-condemned people. Self-condemned in the sense they are self-defeating. Human mind is limited. Because of the human mind alone, we are stuck. We are bound in Veda. We are bound in samsara. And you want to use the same human mind to transcend the mind. Mind cannot be used to transcend the mind, because mind doesn't know how to kill itself. Can it kill itself? So independent thinkers use the mind. When you use the mind, you remain within the ways of mind alone. So no hope of coming out of it. Therefore, let us exclude such independent thinkers who wants to find out what is beyond mind through mind alone. Those who want to use the mind alone and find out what is beyond the mind. They want to think what is beyond thought. In short, they want to think what is beyond thought. How can you think what is beyond thought? Isn't it a contradiction? Therefore, such independent thinkers, we should exclude them for all our Vedantic discussion. Because Vedanta, Tattva Vichara, the inquiry into the truth should be strictly followed according to Upanishads. Okay, so thinkers too should be excluded, kept away from the discussion over liberation. Liberation means regarding moksha or regarding truth, because the speculative reasoning means wild reasoning, wild thinking. Human mind thinks wildly, might be like this, might be means all imaginations, wild imaginations. Wild imaginations, mind can think in certain patterns alone. All those patterns are within mind alone. But the truth is beyond a pattern. What is beyond a pattern? How can the mind, which can only follow within certain patterns, can understand? Therefore, wild thinking, wild imagination, or he says speculative reasoning, divested of the relation of the Veda. Speculated reasoning divested from the help of the Veda. Divested means it is without the help of the Veda. Pen doesn't write. Without the help of the Veda, is condemned by our jnanis, our learned philosophers. Our philosophers have condemned any thinking, a wild thinking of a person, without help of Veda. Because Veda gives a suggestion to you, where your human mind cannot. Human mind gets stuck in its own patterns. So it has to give you a new insight. It is the Vedanta that gives you a new insight, which human mind itself fails, where human mind itself cannot go. It has to be pushed by somebody. Somebody has to lift it. So by remaining, just like I myself have fallen into a ditch, the walls are steep walls. I cannot rise. The steep walls I can't climb. The somebody who is an outsider, who is somebody who is on the top, who is over the ground, he should give me a help. He should throw a rope or something, ladder or something. With his help alone, I can go up. Because all my four sides, the walls are steep walls and smooth walls. I'm giving simply an illustration. Smooth and steep walls, no chance, no, and they are slippery. Smooth, slippery and steep walls, and you won't get a grip. You won't get a grip, neither with your hands nor with your legs, because there is nothing to hold. Your hands can hold only when there is holdable. If it comes into your grip, you can hold. So you won't get a grip at all. So neither your legs nor your hands can hold it. Therefore, you just touch it, you only slip down. So on your own, you cannot go. Then it is exactly at that time, somebody else has to send you something and can lift you. Similarly, just I am giving an example. Similarly, human mind is like the person who has fallen in the well, whose walls are steep and smooth and slippery. Steep, smooth and slippery, where there is nothing to hold. Smooth I already told, so there is no grip, there is no hard surface or something that where you can hold with your hand, or at least some kind of a holes where you can put your legs. Nothing. You have fallen into the well. Impossible to come out. Then it is at this time you need an insight. Somebody has to give you an insight. So this is where Upanishad, which transcends the human mind, the limitations of human mind, it can give you an insight. With the help of the Upanishads, you can give up the mind, which is itself is a real obstruction. Therefore, he says, is condemned by the learned, by our philosophers. Such independent thinkers have been rejected, have been set aside, because 18, after 18, 19 here. Because a defect of reaching no finality is condemned by the learned. Because the independent thinkers, the human mind, which only reasons, argues, reasons. See, mind means only arguing reason. It can't go just, either it believes something. See, two things. If it doesn't know, believes. I don't know, whatever it is, something. That's all, blindly believe. Or it reasons, but reasoning follows certain pattern. Argument or reasoning follows certain logic. But the truth doesn't follow all logics are limited patterns. All logic is a limited order, limited pattern. The truth is not limited to certain patterns, certain limited order. Any order is limited. Absolute truth is beyond any limited orders. Because that's the very nature is truth is absolute. Absolute is beyond any pattern. It doesn't limit itself to certain patterns. Any pattern is limited because one pattern is opposite to another pattern. Any logic, any pattern is limited. There is no absolute order. In absoluteness, you transcend all orders, all patterns, isn't it? The absolute transcends all patterns. Any pattern is limited. Human mind thinks logically or in an orderly way. All orderly way, all logics only have certain patterns. And it doesn't move out of the pattern. So that means it's good. Human mind is good. We only say it is limited. We don't say human mind is bad. Human mind is good, but it is limited. It is stuck to it. It is limited because it is bound by its own patterns. It is bound by its own patterns because it can only work in certain logical way, in a logical sequence, in a meaningful, reasonable sequence. But if you leave the reasonable things, alternative is believing blindly. Even if it is illogical, believe blindly. Either believe blindly even if it is illogical, or follow the logical pattern. That's all, it has got only two. But if you leave the logic, then you have got a illogical blind belief. You have to believe you have to believe blindly what is illogical. That is too much. Human mind can't accept. Then follow the logical pattern. You follow, it is good. It is good. It at least appeals to your heart that you are following logically. But you will be only in a limited circle. You will be moving within circle. You can't go to the absolute point. Because there are certain things which are of different layers. When one pattern doesn't apply to one level, what is talked about one level is not applicable to another level. Different patterns and of different levels. Nothing can be done. The human mind goes within its patterns alone. It cannot transcend its own patterns because it knows only in a pattern. Isn't it? Then how are you to go? So ultimately, human mind which follows logic cannot reach absoluteness, because more you argue, because if you come up with one argument, somebody comes up with another argument, and somebody will come up with another argument, counter argument, there is no finality. Argument is attacked by a counter argument. That again is attacked by another argument. So each one differs from each other. Both are many. They differ from one another, and he asserts his argument alone is right. Then who is to decide? How are you to decide? Because the mind means a certain logical way. And the logic is a multi-tongued or multi-aspects. It has got multifaceted. Logic is multifaceted. That means you give one argument, another fellow comes up with another argument. So each argument appeals to somebody, no argument appeals to all people. Isn't it? That means each argument represents a certain standpoint, certain pattern, certain standpoint. That means it is not a universal standpoint and a universal pattern. It means it is one angle, one aspect. Each pattern represents one aspect. Then but the human mind goes into another aspect and it has another pattern. Now it doesn't agree. So in any argument, there are always disputes, disagreements, no finality. In all arguments, disputes, disagreements, no finality. That's why I have seen some people talking. So let us agree to disagree. I was surprised to see. Let us agree to disagree. That means there cannot be agreement You follow, you have your argument, I have my argument. I am not ready to go beyond my argument. You are not ready to go beyond your argument. So what is the point in discussing? You have your argument, I have my argument. Okay, you have your way, I have my way. That means there is no truth, final truth, which is acceptable to all, because the truth is universal. Universal means it is acceptable to all. It is not from a given standpoint, it is not from somebody's standpoint. So if I hold a view from my standpoint and you feel you have a different standpoint, that means my standpoint is not all. My standpoint is not all. That means there is a possibility of another standpoint. When there is a possibility of another standpoint, then my standpoint is limited, isn't it? If you have a different view, it means my standpoint is limited. It is not absolute. What is absolute standpoint is universal. Nobody can differ. Nobody finds anything wrong in it, because it is what is universal is universal. No dispute, nobody can dispute it. But since we are disputing, it shows that there are many standpoints, and one standpoint is limited. It doesn't accommodate, doesn't include other standpoints. See, one standpoint doesn't include other standpoints. Other standpoint doesn't include my standpoint. That means each standpoint has its own way. Partly include, partly may not include. That means differ, contradict, disagree. And they say, let us agree to disagree. You may agree to, you may stop quarreling, you may stop arguing, but you have not arrived at a truth with that. Okay? By agree to disagree means what? It is only being nice to people without finding the truth. You don't find, you don't quarrel, you don't dispute, but you know it is not yet decided. You have not reached an indisputable point. You know that we are unable to resolve the dispute, but we have not reached the point which is indisputable, universally accepted, which is common to all, universal to all, which is absolute truth, and nobody need to disagree, nobody need to dispute. You have not reached a point which is indisputable. It only shows that I am not ready to give up my standpoint. That's all it means. So it is like two thieves quarrel and ultimately say that, okay, you rob this colony and I shall rob this colony, let us not quarrel. Okay, if you get more money in your area, you are lucky. If I get less money in my area, oh, I am unfortunate, I shall leave it, I won't quarrel with you. If we quarrel, what happens? Both of them, our loud shouting, people will come to know and they will report to police, and both of them will be arrested. So instead of going to police, let us settle ourselves. Okay, I am ready to lose some money, so it doesn't matter. That area you rob, this area I shall rob. I won't interfere in your robbing, you don't interfere in my robbing. This is only agree to disagree, but not solving the problem. Okay, solving the problem means after finding out the truth, in fact, you start a search, you start an inquiry, investigation to find the truth. But you have not found the truth because you came and stuck with a standpoint, and that standpoint is not absolute because it is disagreed by others. Others have another standpoint about the same truth. About the same truth, he has got one view and you have got another view. It shows that both of them have got only one aspect of the truth. That's why they are disagreeing. Both of them have one aspect of the truth. There is no absolute truth. If the absolute truth, then there is no differing. Differing means all narrow standpoints, all limited aspects, limited standpoints dissolve into one universal whole. Okay? They all dissolve into one universal whole. That means all these various standpoints, all these limited aspects can be accommodated in absolute. Absolute is not opposite to any limited standpoint. See, absolute is not opposite to any limited standpoint because it accommodates all limited standpoints. All limited standpoints, all limited aspects it accommodates, but itself is absolute. It remains indisputable. So the truth, absolute truth, is absolutely indisputable, universal, universally acceptable. Nobody can find fault with it. Nobody can see the limitation in it. then that is absolute. But the absolute truth we have not found out. If you keep on disagreeing, you can only say, okay, let us agree to disagree. This agree to disagree, I have never heard such a statement in Indian at all. I found out only in English books alone. English books are in modern educated people. Modern educated people come with these things. Okay, let us agree to disagree. I was surprised the first time when I read this book somewhere in some book. Some foreigner was talking, let us agree to disagree. I say, hey, I've never heard this thing. In India, because we are interested in truth, not in your personal dispute with another person. Convincing other person is not the point. Imposing is not the point. Quarreling with other is not the point. Point is to understand the truth where all the various standpoints, various levels are included. That means it accommodates all levels. All levels, all aspects, all standpoints, all views are accommodated because it is not opposite to anything. It accommodates all standpoints, all views. And itself can be seen by everybody because it is a universal fact. It is in everybody's anubhava. It is universal truth is in everybody's anubhava. Nobody can deny it, nobody can differ from it because it is absolute. It includes everybody's standpoint. And that is absolute. But instead of reaching the absolute, you hold on to one view, one standpoint, one argument, and not ready to, when you differ from other person is bringing in another standpoint, it only shows that my standpoint is limited. That's all it means. If I am not able to accommodate his standpoint, means I've got only one aspect and left out other aspect which he is covering. It only implies that I'm using one aspect and leaving out some more aspects, and he is holding to the other aspect of it which I have left out, or partly clashing, partly overlapping, partly differing. If I go to the truth, absolute truth, then I don't leave out anything. All different aspects, all limited aspects, all things will be accommodated in the absolute truth. Absolute truth will not leave out anything. Okay, if I am leaving out, if I am unable to agree, if I am unable to accommodate others, that means my standpoint is limited. Others have gotten another standpoint which he is rejecting me and I reject him. Therefore, let us agree to disagree. This is a very strange thing for me. Probably it may be. Many people, they accept it, but I think I couldn't accept. From the first day on, I never accepted this argument. Let us agree to disagree. Let us not quarrel. Okay, we are incapable of understanding. Let us leave it. We will not go into personal quarrels. That is okay. But as for the truth, you have not found out the truth. Let us agree to disagree is only we are unable to come out of our narrow standpoints and try to accommodate others' standpoints. I want to hold on emotionally to my standpoint alone. I don't want to expand my view further. I don't want to further reconsider in a deeper level. I want to just, this is an emotionally holding on. You are not a seeker. If you want to hold on to one view, I say let us agree to disagree, then you are not a seeker of truth. I tell you, I'm sorry, I'm very blunt in my talking. Many people must have felt hurt in my talking. I sincerely seek forgiveness. My way of talking, because I'm very blunt in finding the truth. So, if you say that, it's not, you are not a seeker of truth, because you're interested in holding on to one view, one aspect, one standpoint. And if you lose the standpoint, you become baseless because you get shaken. You are afraid of being shaken. I say a person who wants to find the truth should not be afraid of being shaken. In fact, you should thank the person who shakes you. Oh, he has shown me limitations of my standpoint. Why should I be afraid? I'm interested in truth. Let me find out the truth. So that should be the way. A seeker of truth will not be afraid if somebody shakes you. And don't become emotional and argue and all those things, personal attack. Why do you go to the personal attack? Truth is truth. Let us find out. Patiently. Consider, reconsider again and again and again. In fact, his other standpoint might help me to have another angle of it. Okay? Another standpoint which I have missed probably, where I have remained a limited, it helps you. Which I have excluded, you will be accommodating. You will be including that. Therefore, it requires a patience, sincerity. Sincerely, you want to find out the truth. Therefore, don't worry. Don't be emotionally attached to one standpoint, one angle of it. So emotion you have to leave. That's where we say antakarana shuddhi, karma yoga. Why do we insist so much of vairagyam? You have to be like a sannyasi. Directly sannyasi, or at least in your mind, in your outlook, like similar to a sannyasi. Your life should be so simple, natural, spontaneous, similar to sannyasi, so open-minded. Okay? Either directly sannyasi, or at least much closer, similar to almost like a sannyasi. Okay, you may be living in a different society, different country. There, that country may not permit a sannyasa life, but at least in your outlook, in your thinking, it should be detached, not emotionally attached to, prejudiced, or attached to any given standpoint. Any new point you listen, try to accommodate. Try to listen. Accommodate means listen, patiently reconsider again and again, consider, then you expand your vision while including all the various standpoints. Absolute is absolute without any demarcations, without any limitations. Absolute is really limitless. That is the truth. So if you are a seeker, ready to lose your individuality, because all standpoint means jiva only, individuality, karta bhokta. All standpoints mean individuality, jiva. Individual standpoint is jiva buddhi, karta bhokta and jnata. If you want the truth, you have to transcend that. That individuality, karta bhokta, jnata. Jnata, jiva is a standpoint. You have to standpoint the very jivatvam means jiva. When you transcend jivatvam, there is no standpoint. There is no stand. Whatever is the truth is, that's all. It is neither your nor mine. There is no you and me. It is itself. It is itself. Absolute truth is itself. Neither you nor me. Because that's why at that level of that Atma Swarupa, you don't see another person to quarrel with or differ from. There is nothing to differ. Because there is no second person other than me. Me is that absolute me, not individual me. Okay? Therefore, you have to lose that individuality and see that absolute truth. In that absolute truth, it's absolute, that's all. There is no you and me, all are one. No differing, no disagreeing, no excluding, no excluding. It's everything. It's a whole, holistic, comprehensive. That's why Purna Drishti, as Swamiji says, it is a Purna Drishti. Therefore, any standpoint means you are retaining your individuality, your jivahood. The mind you are retaining, you should be ready to lose that mind. Ready to lose the mind, and because if you are singularly interested in truth, your interest should be solely truth alone. Truth and nothing but truth. For that, any sacrifice, no sacrifice is higher sacrifice. Any sacrifice you are ready. In fact, anything which is against truth is not worth retaining. Anything is against the truth is not worth retaining. Let it be lost. Better you lose it. Because anything against truth, what is the point in retaining it? If you are defeated, feel happy that you are defeated. Why do you retain it? Why do you want to retain it? Say that kind of simplicity, like a child is simplicity. I'm ready for anything. I want absolute truth. So that kind of thing is sannyasa. Sannyasa is you are just interested in truth and nothing but truth. And truth is self-evident. Self-evident means it is open. It's neither your nor mine. Nobody owns it. In fact, there is no individuals to own it. It's not available for a grip of anybody. Because there are no individuals there. All are included in it. It's absolute. Like space, you can't hold the space. Can you hold it? Can you catch it, pack it up in a bag and carry it? Nobody can catch it. Because you try to hold the sky, nobody can hold it. Can you hold the sky or a space? You can't hold it. Similarly, that's called absolute truth. Okay, therefore, person should be open. So any independent thinker or a follower of a school or a follower of a religious book or a guru or anything, we are not particular, we don't condemn anybody, we don't follow blindly anybody. Let there be anybody, but should be a sincere search for truth. Okay? Therefore, and he says, any individual logic, Any individual thinking represents one logic, one pattern. Any pattern, any logic represents one standpoint. One standpoint, one aspect of the truth. See, what is logic? Any logic, any represents one standpoint. But truth is not one standpoint. It's beyond all standpoint. It is absolute. That means you have to lose that standpoint. You have to lose that individuality. But all human mind can do is only take a standpoint and watch. That means the very individuality, the very seeker is a problem. Seeker himself is interfering in the truth. Seeker himself is the biggest obstacle in finding the truth. Oh, this only Vedanta has to help us. Vedanta has to help us. Your very seeking is a problem. Problem in the sense, sincerely you seek in such a way, keep on seeking, searching, investigating. In that you understand that very seeking is limited. Then your seeking becomes real. Where the very seeking, the mind, a standpoint itself is limited. You come to understand the very limitation of seeking. The seeking dissolves. Absolute truth remains. This is called, we call Badha. Badha means falsification of everything, sublation of everything, then remains absolute truth. So, if you hold on to one thought, one pattern and one logic, because the human mind does, all strength human mind has only the logic, what will we have? Either faith or logic. Faith means illogical. You have to just say blindly hold on to in illogical, when you hold on, you become emotional, you become fanatic, and you won't tolerate. Even in blind belief also, there are many blind beliefs. One fellow believes one prophet, another fellow believes one thing. And we say, you are wrong and you are wrong. My prophet is true prophet, he prophet is impostor. My prophet is true and your this again is a quarrel. This gives rise to more ego and frustration and all, anger, and then this is not a truth. So, either you believe, which is just a blind, and that too against logic, it takes you nowhere. You don't find the truth because you will be more insecure and worried, and then you don't know what is what. Everything is dark. You have to, like a person closing your eyes tries to search the truth. It is like searching the truth by closing your eyes. By closing your eyes, how do you search? You don't know whether you have reached the truth or not, or whether you have started searching at all. If you close your eyes and search, you don't know whether you have reached the truth or not reached the truth, or whether you have started searching. Have you started searching? Because you don't know when everything is blind. Therefore, this blind faith, the blind belief takes you nowhere. But if you start thinking, I told you two options. Either just accepting blindly or thinking. Accepting blindly takes you nowhere. Thinking is logic. Logic follows a pattern. Each pattern is limited. It doesn't, because pattern is a pattern because it is limited. Absolute is not a pattern. It's beyond all patterns. It includes all patterns. Itself is not a given pattern. That's the beauty about absolute. Then therefore, all patterns are, all logical line of thinkings are only limited. Then that means the very mind can think only in certain patterns, only in certain lines alone. And that mind goes in one certain patterns, only gets stuck with alone. Now you have to reach the absolute truth. Human mind itself is a disadvantage. Then what am I to do? What am I to do? All that I have is a mind. The mind is helpless. You don't know where to go. That's why one Upanishad, Mandaka Upanishad says, Tad Vijnanartham Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmanaha Nirveda Mayan Nastya Kritakritena. Tad Vijnanartham Gurumeva Abhigachet Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Therefore, by examining all this, you find that you are not reaching anywhere. You are stuck somewhere. You are unable to find the truth. All the things that you have is only limited circle alone. Limited and circular alone. So you don't know, the dead end alone you are reaching. Human mind reaches only dead end. So you go circular round and round patterns and nowhere. Then where to go? Because your human mind is stuck. That's where you go to Upanishad or Vedanta or a guru who just gives you an insight an insight, the insight which human mind itself cannot find out. Somebody has to touch it. When your mind is really pure and ready, you touch it instantly, you open up. That's the beauty is, if you have to be sufficiently prepared, open-minded. Okay, I think I have taken time. 45 minutes over. We'll discuss tomorrow. We should go on. Now for this, therefore, see, Purvapakshi concluded, Siddhanti tomorrow answers. Swamiji answers tomorrow. Purvapakshi says that, no, just to say last sentence of the Purvapakshi, therefore, human mind, independent thinkers cannot find out the truth. Therefore, let us reject those independent thinkers. And let us accept what Upanishad says. For this, what does Swamiji reply? Okay, Swamiji has got amazing thinking. I think unique and amazing, you will not find anywhere else. All this is based upon Shankara Bhashyam. The basis for Swamiji is only Shankara Bhashyam. Every sentence of it he has done, he contemplated, thought over, he meditated on it, he thought over it, he breathed, he lived in it, and his eating and drinking and everything is Shankara Bhashya. His breathing is Shankara Bhashya, his living Shankara Bhashya, his thinking is Shankara Bhashya. In and through, whether inside Bhashya, outside Bhashya, he only lived through that. That way, his every sentence come from Shankara's Bhashya. That's why this is the Swamiji's line of thinking that comes from Shankara Bhashya. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow means, I don't know. What date is today? What day? Let me wait. I mean, forgetting today is Friday, I am thinking. Is today Friday? No. Today is Saturday. I thought today is Friday. How did I miss it? Okay, so tomorrow is Gita. After Gita, will we have time? No. Monday also we may not have. So Tuesday we will have. I think, should I have? No, I have no patience. I'll be tired. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow is English Gita. And day after tomorrow, Monday is that Telugu Gita. And Tuesday we shall continue. These last 2 days I couldn't do due to some, my ill health always is a delicate health is a problem. Okay. You remember where I left? We'll continue. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti.